other kinds of samadhi. If there is a man who lacks the capacity for goodness, he will be confused by the evil tempter, by heretics, and by demons. Sometimes these beings will appear in dreadful forms while he is sitting in meditation, and at other times they will manifest themselves in the shapes of handsome men and women. In such a case he should meditate on the principle of mind only, and then these objects will vanish and will not trouble him any longer. Sometimes they may appear as the images of heavenly beings or bodhisattvas, and assume also the figure of the Tathagata, furnished with all the major and minor marks, or they may expound the spells or preach charity, the precepts, patience, zeal, meditation, and wisdom, or they may discourse on how the true nirvana is the state of universal emptiness, of the nonexistence of characteristics, vows, hatreds, affections, causes, and effects, and of absolute nothingness.
They may also teach him the knowledge of his own past and future states of existence, the method of reading other men's minds, and perfect mastery of speech, causing him to be covetous and attached to worldly fame and profit, or they may cause him to be frequently moved to joy and anger and thus to have unsteadiness of character, being at times very kind-hearted, very drowsy, very ill, or lazy-minded, or at other times becoming suddenly zealous, and then afterward lapsing into negligence, or developing a lack of faith, a great deal of doubt, and a great deal of anxiety, or abandoning his fundamental excellent practices toward religious perfection and devoting himself to miscellaneous religious acts, or being attached to worldly affairs which involve him in many ways, or sometimes they may cause him to experience a certain semblance of various kinds of samadhi, which are all the attainments of heretics and are not the true samadhi, or sometimes they may cause him to remain in samadhi for 1, 2, 3, or up to 7 days, feeling comfort in his body and joy in his mind, being neither hungry nor thirsty, partaking of natural, fragrant, and delicious drinks and foods, which induce him to increase his attachment to them, or at other times they may cause him to eat without any restraint, now a great deal, now only a little, so that the color of his face changes accordingly.
For these reasons, he who practices cessation should be discreet and observant, lest his mind fall into the net of evil doctrine. He should be diligent in abiding in correct thought, neither grasping or attaching himself to anything. If he does so, he will be able to keep himself far away from the hindrance of these evil influences. He should know that the samadhi of the heretics is not free from perverse views, craving, and arrogance, for the heretics are covetously attached to fame, profit, and the respect of the world. The samadhi of suchness is the samadhi in which one is not arrested by the activity of viewing a subject nor by the experiencing of objects in the midst of meditation. Even after concentration one will be neither indolent nor arrogant and one's defilements will gradually decrease. There has never been a case in which an ordinary man, without having practiced this samadhi, was still able to join the group that is entitled to become Tathagatas.
Those who practice the various types of dhyana, meditation, and samadhi which are popular in the world will develop much attachment to their flavors and will be bound to the triple world because of their perverse view that Atman is real. They are therefore the same as heretics, for as they depart from the protection of their good spiritual friends, they turn to heretical views. Next, he who practices this samadhi diligently and wholeheartedly will gain 10 kinds of advantages in this life. First, he will always be protected by the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions. Second, he will not be frightened by the tempter and his evil demons. Third, he will not be deluded or confused by the 95 kinds of heretics and wicked spirits. Fourth, he will keep himself far away from slanderers of the profound teaching of the Buddha, and will gradually diminish the hindrances derived from grave sins. Fifth, he will destroy all doubts and wrong views on enlightenment. Sixth, his faith in the realm of the Tathagata will grow.
Seventh, he will be free from sorrow and remorse and in the midst of samsara will be full of vigor and undaunted. Eighth, having a gentle heart and forsaking arrogance, he will not be vexed by others. Ninth, even if he has not yet experienced samadhi, he will be able to decrease his defilements in all places and at all times, and he will not take pleasure in the world. 10th, if he experiences samadhi, he will not be startled by any sound from without. Now, if he practices cessation only, then his mind will be sunk in self-complacency and he will be slothful. He will not delight in performing good acts but will keep himself far away from the exercise of great compassion. It is, therefore, necessary to practice clear observation as well.
The practice of clear observation. He who practices clear observation should observe that all conditioned phenomena in the world are unstationary and are subject to instantaneous transformation and destruction, that all activities of the mind arise and are extinguished from moment to moment, and that, therefore, all of these induce suffering. He should observe that all that had been conceived in the past was as hazy as a dream, that all that is being conceived in the present is like a flash of lightning, and that all that will be conceived in the future will be like clouds that rise up suddenly. He should also observe that the physical existences of all living beings in the world are impure, and that among these various filthy things there is not a single one that can be sought after with joy. He should reflect in the following way: all living beings, from the beginningless beginning, because they are permeated by ignorance, have allowed their mind to remain in samsara, they have already suffered all the great miseries of the body and mind, they are at present under incalculable pressure and constraint, and their sufferings in the future will likewise be limitless.
These sufferings are difficult to forsake, difficult to shake off, and yet these beings are unaware that they are in such a state. For this, they are greatly to be pitied. After reflecting in this way, he should pluck up his courage and make a great vow to this effect: may my mind be free from discriminations so that I may practice all of the various meritorious acts everywhere in the 10 directions. May I, to the end of the future, by applying limitless expedient means, help all suffering sentient beings so that they may obtain the bliss of nirvana, the ultimate goal. Having made such a vow, he must, in accordance with his capacity and without faltering, practice every kind of good at all times and all places and not be slothful in his mind. Except when he sits in concentration in the practice of cessation, he should at all times reflect upon what should be done and what should not be done. Whether walking, standing, sitting, lying, or rising, he should practice both cessation and clear observation side by side. That is to say, he is to meditate upon the fact that things are unborn in their essential nature, but at the same time he is to meditate upon the fact that good and evil karma, produced by the combination of the primary cause and the coordinating causes, and the retributions of karma in terms of pleasure, pain, etc., are neither lost nor destroyed.
Though he is to meditate on the retribution of good and evil karma produced by the primary and coordinating causes, i.e., he is to practice clear observation, he is also to meditate on the fact that the essential nature of things is unobtainable by intellectual analysis. The practice of cessation will enable ordinary men to cure themselves of their attachments to the world, and will enable the followers of the Hinayana to forsake their views, which derive from cowardice. The practice of clear observation will cure the followers of the Hinayana of the fault of having narrow and inferior minds which bring forth no great compassion, and will free ordinary men from their failure to cultivate the capacity for goodness. For these reasons, both cessation and clear observation are complementary and inseparable. If the two are not practiced together, then one cannot enter the path to enlightenment. Next, suppose there is a man who learns this teaching for the first time and wishes to seek the correct faith, but lacks courage and strength.
Because he lives in this world of suffering, he fears that he will not always be able to meet the Buddhas and honor them personally, and that, faith being difficult to perfect, he will be inclined to fall back. He should know that the Tathagatas have an excellent expedient means by which they can protect his faith, that is, through the strength of wholehearted meditation on the Buddha, he will in fulfillment of his wishes be able to be born in the Buddha land beyond, to see the Buddha always, and to be forever separated from the evil states of existence. It is as the Sutra says, if a man meditates wholly on Amitabha Buddha in the world of the Western paradise and wishes to be born in that world, directing all the goodness he has cultivated toward that goal, then he will be born there. Because he will see the Buddha at all times, he will never fall back. If he meditates on the Dharmakaya, the suchness of the Buddha, and with diligence keeps practicing the meditation, he will be able to be born there in the end because he abides in the correct samadhi.